Michigan cheating scandal certainly has no needs because it is well fed these days, friends. And I think what we're figuring out now is that the messaging for Michigan is rather consistent. They roll Penn State this weekend, even though J.J. McCarthy's Heisman hopes died, as Michigan ran the football all over the Fighting Paternos at Happy Ending Valley, which, of course, I'm going to say 1,000 times. And as Michigan heads to College Park to play Maryland this weekend, Jim Harbaugh may well be there. But I think the biggest question is Michigan America's team in what has to be one of the most incredible press conferences we have ever seen? Jim Harbaugh went on a rant of rants about his football club.
The perseverance, and then the stalwartness of these guys. I mean, yeah, watching, I would have to say, everybody. It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers and critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team. And yeah, watching it from that view on the television, it was finally people get to see what I see every day.
I'm sorry, overcomes the odds, adversity, all of this, just unbelievable tragedies that have happened in the program, and I don't know how you explain it. Okay, I just lied. I explain it because, well, you got caught cheating multiple times. So I love this messaging that somehow Michigan is overcoming the odds. Michigan,
stalwartness.
With all of this adversity that we have rained down on ourselves by blowing our feet off during the COVID dark period and having hamburgers with recruits allegedly and watching workouts on Zoom and, overworking our coaches and then not being honest with or cooperating with the NCAA Committee on Infractions. I mean, that's why Jim Harbaugh took a 3-game self-imposed rip earlier in the season, right? Because remember, this isn't the first game he missed this year. He missed 3 games earlier. So this is the 4th game that good old Jimbo, the victim, has missed this season for Michigan. And I am amazed by it. I am amazed at the level of just a lack of empathy, a lack of awareness. And maybe it's just over the top awareness of just how guilty Michigan looks, that Jim Harbaugh today sat in front of the assembled media in Ann Arbor and called his team a victim, and that they have overcome adversity. And
that'd be America's team.
This is one of the most ridiculous things that I have ever heard. In any way, shape, or form, Jake, is Michigan America's team?
There is no way Michigan is America's team. And this is, again, just more of the same material we've been getting out of Michigan for the last week. And, ever since the suspension was sort of hinted at, even before it got announced, even just the thought of there being a suspension of Jim Harbaugh absolutely triggered all the Michigan defenders, all the Juwan Howards and the Charles Woodsons and the Twitter tough guys and, all those people, Michigan's faithful, were all triggered and led by their hero of America's team, Jim Harbaugh. And it's been nothing short of sensational. Everything from we're a victim to, oh my God, you can't punish Jim for something that the school did, even though they're punishing the school by punishing Jim. Like, it's as if Michigan fan and Michigan themselves are living in some fantasy land. So the idea that Jim Harbaugh today stood up on the dais and tried to sell us a package about how Michigan is America's team couldn't be any farther from the truth. America and the American dream was not founded on, a philosophy of, let's cheat, lie, and pretend to be a victim to get everything that we could want, to get every type of advantage on our adversity, as Jim calls it. That's not what the American dream is. The American dream is, hey, we've got something in front of us, a challenge in front of us, which in this case, because it's football, would be a national championship and the path to it. And every other program in the country is busy, working their ass off in a fair way to try to get that job done. Nick Saban's got to play Georgia in the, SEC championship game in a fair way. So I don't really appreciate Jim coming out here and being like, yeah, this is, America's team, because we've been through so much adversity and our program's just been ripped to shreds. I got news for you. Jim. Your program hasn't been ripped to shreds. And there is loads of evidence showing what you knew and what you didn't know, and what you did and what you didn't do. So it's not anyone's opinion on what's going on here. It's what the evidence says. And it's just amazing to me that Jim Harbaugh would characterize this situation as victimhood, because it's not. And I'm tired of hearing about it. It's not victimhood. If you really wanted to be America's team, you would be accountable. You would say, hey, you know what? They've got a case against us and we just got to deal with that. But I'm focused on football. That's what I'd be hearing. Not, oh my God, we're victims. Can't believe I had to watch this, Penn State game from wherever you watched it from on the tube.
Amazing.
As if your punishment was, go out to pasture and work a farm all day. Go into a mine and try to put food on your family's table. That's what is just incredible to me as to why he's characterizing it like this, because it's just not true.
Yeah, I think it's completely tone deaf, and it's one of the, and maybe the single greatest press conference we have ever seen.
I mean, it's nothing short of a political campaign at this point. Honestly,
it is remarkable. Oh, but did you think that was all that Jim Harbaugh said today? No, friends. Jim Harbaugh stood up in front of America and said he was robbed of due process.
I'm going to talk on Friday. Just looking for that opportunity. Due process. Not looking for special treatment, not looking for a popularity contest, just looking for the merit of what the case is. Senior in high school, I had a civics class and talked about government, justice, and what I took away from that class was that you're innocent until proven guilty. That was 40 years ago, but like that opportunity.
Listen to this guy. You forgot truth, justice, and the American way. You just tried to say truth, justice, and the American way, and you couldn't come up with it.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
Because nobody took due process from you, Jim. And I think this is the part of this conversation that is wild to me. He stands up there and he says that he wants to be judged on the merits of the case, on the evidence of the case. The evidence of the case does not support you, Jimmy.
Fine Steeler guy.
Right? Like, I got news for you, Jimmy. The evidence says you did this. Oh, but Monty, today on Twitter, I had 20, 30 people. He didn't know. How can he be suspended?
Via social media.
Well, if you read the letter and the actual suspension text that was sent to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh wasn't suspended. Michigan was punished by the suspension of their head football coach, who is Jim Harbaugh. And again, I say, this isn't the first time he's been suspended this year. You understand, if this 3-game suspension holds, Jim Harbaugh will have missed 6 games this season based on his action and the actions of his football staff.
Because it's illegal.
This is not accidental. This is not a lack of due process. To have a lack of due process, you must have the absence of any, and I mean any, evidence and any preliminary hearings. Neither one of those is true. There is a mountain of evidence that Michigan football cheated when it sent scouts to other buildings. Advanced scouting while videotaping sidelines is wholly prohibited in the NCAA guidebook. And the Big Ten Conference let it be known that Jim Harbaugh and Michigan football got caught because Michigan has seen the video evidence. They have worked in concert with the NCAA to share information, which was also shared with Michigan. And how do we know that? Because the NCAA and Michigan talked, and Michigan gave the NCAA permission to share information with the Big Ten. So this whole idea that due process was taken from Jim and he just wants to be judged on the merits of the evidence is complete and utter bullshit. Because if he is judged on the merits of the evidence, Jim Harbaugh will not just miss 3 games. Jim Harbaugh will be out for probably the entirety of next season should he remain the head coach at Michigan football.
Thanks.
And again, I ask you, if Jim Harbaugh is this guy that coaches stood on the field and cried about, oh, Jimmy, I miss you, Jimmy. Oh. If that's who Jim Harbaugh is, why is there no contract extension? Where's the great contract extension we've been hearing about? How come that deal has not been signed, sealed, and delivered and put up on billboards across America that the great victim, the ultimate injustice, the suspension of Jim Harbaugh, where due process was absent and it was a witch hunt?
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
Oh, that's right. They're not going to extend him because they know he's got not 1, not 2, but 3 massive investigations.
I'm for real.
Working against him at Michigan football. He's got the COVID dark period investigation, which many people think is over. My friends, it's not close to over. The NCAA laughed at Jim Harbaugh's settlement agreement where they said, oh, we'll take 4 games. No, you won't. So he gave himself 3 to try and offset. Then you have the FBI who is investigating Matt Weiss, the former offensive coordinator, for crimes committed using Michigan computers while he was the offensive coordinator at Michigan football. And now you have the single largest sign-stealing guy, cheater guy investigation we've ever seen.
Sign stealer guy.
In college football. All of them were on Jim Harbaugh's watch. So if we're going to sit here and we're going to call Jim Harbaugh the single greatest victim, should we at least expose the truth where Jim Harbaugh says he found out about his suspension on social media?
Just somebody showed me their phone.
So via social media, or the Big Ten contacted you?
Via social media. Via social media.
Did you expect to hear from the Big Ten, though? I mean, did that catch you off guard that you're reading about it on social media?
Ward was pretty upset. He was on the plane too, and he was pretty upset that he heard it through social media and not through the office.
That I can tell you from people we've spoken to is completely false. Michigan, the Big Ten, and the NCAA were in contact all day on Thursday and all day on Friday. Part of this was Michigan waited until the 47th hour and 59th second to return their response, which had to be returned in 48 hours. That was a big part of it. Number 2, the Big Ten, who I know completely robbed Jim of all due process here. An innocent man is being victimized. They went through so much effort to deliver due process. They were talking to the NCAA. Then after that, they were talking to Michigan and Ward Manuel, who says he didn't find out until he was on the plane on social media, which is completely false.
My fucking ass.
Because as we told you Friday morning, the Big Ten let Michigan know, hey, a suspension is coming. We are working with the NCAA on the exact details of that. So it's not true that Jim Harbaugh found out, at least from our information, that Jim Harbaugh found out on the plane when somebody showed him a phone. That on social media, I found out.
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
Jim Harbaugh was well aware on Friday morning that he was going to be suspended. He did not know 3 games, but he certainly knew he was not going to be eligible to coach the Penn State game. And if you want further evidence of that, did you read the 10-page response? Do you think that happened in 5 minutes? Did the court filing where they reached out to a Michigan booster who's a judge, do you think that happened in 5 minutes? Oh, whoa, Jimmy got suspended. Better call our biggest booster on the bench. They knew it was coming. They had a response written. They had the draft written for the temporary restraining order. They knew exactly what judge they were going to go to, who kicked it to another judge that was on duty. And now they have a hearing scheduled for next Friday. So the idea that Michigan was victimized and they just didn't have the time to get a TRO to save Jim Harbaugh before the kickoff of the Penn State game is more utter bullshit from Michigan.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
It's just not true. And so we go through these processes, and I love that people are like, oh, Monty, the Michigan message boards. Here's the final salvo in the I don't even know, should we just call it the BS militia? Oh my God, Michigan is so upset. They're leaving the Big Ten. The first idiocy I heard about this on Saturday was, oh, they're already talking to Brett Yormark about membership in the Big 12. Michigan's coming to the truck stop conference by flying over. They're flying over the other flyover conferences to come to the Big 12. Let me get this right. You're making, by some reports, you're going to make close to $160 million a year in the Big Ten if you're Michigan. So you're going to step down to like 40 million? So, and I just want to make, because Jim, I know you're a victim and we robbed you of due process and all that stuff.
Stalwartness.
It's worth, so you're saying it's worth at a minimum $115 million because due process to you is worth $115 million. So we're just going to step down financially to the Big 12 where we have all these truck stops and stuff in the conference. And you're going to just give away $110 million a year.
That'd be America's team.
That's never happening.
Ever.
Oh, but Monty, they'll go to the SEC. Here's the other. Well, they'll go to the SEC. Okay, so asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. So if the TV deal in the SEC is around $50 million. So instead of 115, you're just going to give away 100 million now. Okay, way more logical. You're going to walk away from okay, cool. Whew, I was really.
It makes perfect sense.
I was worried the Connor Stallions wouldn't have the budget to go steal
guy.
those. You're not walking away from $100 million. You're not. Stop it. Stop with this. Oh my God, the message boards are. Somebody sent me a message on Saturday on Twitter. The message boards are on fire. Ward Manuel is in Dallas meeting with the Big 12. That's funny. And I don't know. And listen,
right.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have a time machine. I'm not saying that. Okay? But he was on the plane when he found out Friday afternoon on social media. Let me show you the phone. I'm going to say he wasn't in Dallas on Saturday. I'm going to guess he was in the land of the Sandusky and the Happy Valley endings where Michigan was running all over, the Fighting Paternos. He was at Ward Manuel's in Dallas already meeting with, it's done.
Why would Brett Yormark want anything to do with this, Slick?
Let me get this right. He won't take Oregon State and Washington State, but he's going to take Michigan and their 3 massive scandals.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, dude.
And Michigan's going to walk away from $115 million.
We're in a control position.
I mean, listen, we're Wolverines. We've got wings on our helmets and stuff. Like,
right.
What's $115 million to us?
Got to be America's team.
What? Do you guys message Monty? Hey, fat ass, message boards are on fire over there in Michigan.
Via social media.
They're going to the Big 12. Ward Manuel's in Dallas right now. You kidding me? We're not going to stand for this lack of due process.
So-called experts.
Yeah, 4 more years, bro.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what you. I'm begging you. Before you DM me.
Please.
Before you hit send, you're like, all right, Dallas in Dallas. Before you hit send, will you just be like, okay.
Monty.
I just wrote a DM off of a Michigan message board that's never right about anything. And look, I know up in Michigan that they have Wolverines that they've like got a deadbolt locked on to see what I did there. Anyway, the point is, I know that they're reporting that Ward Manuel is in Dallas. But can you just take a breath before you send that? No. I don't have a shovel big enough to dig out of that
a lot
pile of manure.
Dude.
Like, I can't. I won't. Think about that. Michigan's going to the Big 12. Ward Manuel on a game day in Pennsylvania is in Dallas meeting with Brett Yormark on a Saturday with no notice. Brett Yormark's like, yeah, come on down to the ranch.
Dude,
I got some sun tea. You know, Mrs. Yormark's got some sun tea on the patio. We're ready for you, Ward. Pack everything up. We're out of here. And he can't meet at the Omni Hotel because we all know Dallas is SEC country. So I'm going to say it's going to take some time to find a meet. He was not there. You guys stop.
Be better, dude.
Stop. Like, and I'm trying not to laugh at you.
No redos.
And so, like, Michigan fan that keeps coming at us in the comments section about due process.
We need to talk about this. What due process? See, you were tweeting today. You were retweeting one of these hacks on Twitter, and you're like, can someone explain to me what due process exactly have you been robbed of? I'm still waiting for the clinical explanation of what due process Michigan and company have not been given. That's what I'm trying to understand. What have you not received, man?
And Harry on Twitter. Right? Harry, and I think it's Harry, our guy, Harry Austin on Twitter. You asked about due process. The Big Ten admitted they do not have the evidence of the head coach. I get that they had a discussion with the NCAA, but that is separate investigation. No, it's not, actually. Why are they talking to the NCAA about the Jim Harbaugh situation? See, because it's a violation of the sportsmanship clause. That's what they're using. And we've shown you on the show, it's absolutely a violation of the sportsmanship clause to be sign stealer guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so, you know,
Sign stealer guy.
When it is a hardcore lack of, and I can't find the graphic, of course.
Yeah, lack of institutional control.
But when it is that's clearly what it is.
Yeah.
It is a hardcore lack of institutional control.
Yeah, you're not afforded the opportunity to say, "Oh yeah, I didn't know. No way I knew." And that makes me innocent and I should be on the sideline for Penn State and furthermore.
So when you say that's a separate investigation, the reason that Michigan was talking to the NCAA had gotten permission from Michigan to give the Big Ten all the evidence they had on the sign stealing investigation. So we know on the record, they provided the Big Ten with video of people in the exact seats on the exact dates of the tickets that Connor Stallions bought, right? So they saw the video. They saw the people in the seats pointing their phones at the sideline. They know, based on testimony of people who took part, that video went to the cloud. Like, they're sharing information. The reason they're talking to the NCAA and vice versa is they have information that's now in one pot. So what they were doing was, hey, here's this. What do you think of that? Here's how we found it. This is what, okay. Hey, Michigan, just want to let you know, we're still talking to the NCAA. They're telling us X, Y, and Z. So on Friday, from what our sources told us, Friday morning, the NCAA and the Big Ten were talking. The Big Ten told Michigan Friday morning, there's going to be a suspension. We'll have details for you as soon as possible. And they kept going back and forth on evidence. So the idea, and Harry also says the Big Ten can suspend, and they did, but the question was about due process, which one could argue they did not. In what form did Michigan's due process get robbed from them? How did the NCAA breach due process with Michigan? When they talked to all parties involved, they looked at all the available evidence. They punished Michigan by suspending their head coach. So in no way, shape, or form did they say to Michigan, hey, we're suspending Jim Harbaugh for his actions. They said, we're suspending your football coach for your actions, which are not in question. I would also remind you, Michigan's never denied the sign stealing operation,
which the Big Ten pointed out in its partial reason as to why you got a suspension.
So here it is right here. When you look at this right here, here is the responsibility and accountability portion of the Big Ten rulebook. For the actions of its employees, coaches, student athletes, band, spirit squad, mascot, general student body, and any other individual or group of individuals over whom or which it maintains some level of authority. Okay, well, but that doesn't mean he has the, and here's the part that I love. Oh, Tony Petitti doesn't have the authority. Well, actually he does. The top line. The commissioner shall have the exclusive authority to determine whether an offensive action as contemplated in agreement 10.1 above has been committed by anyone referenced in 10.1 above. And then if you look at the bottom, in the event the commissioner determines that an offensive action has occurred, the commissioner shall have the authority to, there's that word authority, to impose any disciplinary action in response to the offensive action subject to the provision 10.331 below. So,
okay, but Monty, he suspended him 3 games. What do you mean? You can't do that.
Well, by the rule book of the Big Ten, Tony Petitti can, without anybody's permission, suspend anybody 2 games and fine him $10,000. He suspended him 3 games, which means he had to go to the Big Ten Board of Presidents, which is a small group of presidents in the Big Ten who has to approve the discipline, which we are told they roundly did. So
what do
I'm
you
asking
mean?
again, where's the lack of due process? Because I don't see it.
Would love for someone to explain it to me. Like,
I don't get it.
I don't understand. What are we missing?
I don't get it. And again, I'm just telling you, there's no way, shape, or form that Michigan is leaving the Big Ten. That is never going to happen. That is just simply not an option.
And the next time you criticize a conference for taking the TV money, remember this, because this is precisely why you always take the TV money. Because if they were only making $40 million per year of school, then the Michigan leaving the conference thing would have legs. But since you're making $100+ million a year, yeah, it doesn't have any legs. They're not going anywhere.
Nick McNaughton, man, this is clickbait. Almost has you at 1,000 people watching. How is it clickbait? Fact of the matter is the investigation isn't over. The NCAA investigation isn't over. What's that got to do with the Big Ten disciplining Michigan?
Again, what are we confused about?
Is it, and Guy, I'm going to assume you're a Michigan fan. Does it not register with Michigan fans? The NCAA and the Big Ten are 2 separate individual organizations. And the Big Ten, through its rule book that was ratified by all of its members, including Michigan, who hasn't left for the truck stop conference yet, to my knowledge, agreed to the rules of the Big Ten handbook. So when you say that the investigation's not over, I'm confused by that, because the Big Ten, nowhere in the handbook does it say the Big Ten has to wait for the NCAA, because it has overwhelming evidence that Michigan participated in a sign stealing operation. So again, Mike McNaughton, I'm asking you directly, Mike McNaughton, Mr. Hey, man, this clickbait almost has you over 1,000 people watching. So go ahead and again tell me, A, how is this clickbait? And B, what does it matter that the NCAA investigation isn't over?
And by the way, if Michigan fan found Ohio State doing what Michigan did, you guys you'd want to take an axe to the throat of their program. You want it both ways. You agreed to the book, and now you're crying a river about being disciplined by the very rules that you agreed to.
So I'm just asking Nick McNaughton, how is the investigation not over? Yeah, I think.
By the way, do you think that investigation? Do you think that investigation that you're saying isn't over is going to lead to good things for you and your program?
I mean, Jim, do you guys understand that Jim Harbaugh is at this moment suspended for 6 games of this season? 3 of it self-imposed. So he admitted what he did during the COVID period.
The coronavirus.
Like you're suspended 6 games of a season, and you're trying to cry foul
for a guy who has won 1 bowl game, I think, and has no natties.
Man,
what are we doing?
And we haven't even gotten close to anything with the FBI yet. So great. The Big Ten's investigation's over. The NCAA investigation's not over. And we don't know what the FBI is doing with Matt Weiss.
I mean, did you really think the Big Ten wasn't going to protect the integrity of the game?
And the other question I have is, you don't even know what Matt Weiss is being investigated for by the FBI. Has nobody thought? I think everybody thinks that Matt Weiss was like out stealing somebody's crypto. Has anybody thought that maybe he was trying to, I mean, what if it was cyber security breaches where he was trying to get into other teams' computers? What if it was Michigan football related and he was committing crimes? Because allegedly they're investigating computer crimes across state lines with multiple victims. So what if it's football related? Has that even sunk in to your wing T brains that Michigan, it's like these are small little petty issues.
You know,
that FBI investigation might be coming for that ass. Has anybody thought about that? Because I don't think Michigan fan has even contemplated that.
Just saying.
Right? Like I'm just curious about it. I'm just curious about it. Has Nick McNaughton answered our pleas for, and Nick, I'd really like you, Nick McNaughton, I'd really like you to educate me.
Please.
I know I don't know a thing. And I have no grasp on reality. And as everybody on Twitter, the Michigan fans today said, I just hate Jim Harbaugh and I just hate Michigan, which isn't true. I hate cheaters.
Fine Steeler guy.
I'm hoping you're going to just inflict awesome amounts of education on me.
Yeah.
But I see that you haven't responded. So I'm guessing, here we go.
Okay.
If the coordinators knew, they should be done, but we don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
So if the coordinators knew, let me get this right. You're saying if the coordinators knew about Connor Stallions, they should be fired, but Jim should not. Again, I don't know you, Nick McNaughton, from Jesus Christ. I don't know who you are. Do you have no idea what the NCAA rulebook says? It does not matter if Jim Harbaugh knew or didn't know. He should have known because it is his responsibility.
God bless.
He's the head coach. Crying foul by saying, oh, you can't fire me. I had no idea. Okay, you didn't know? Okay, I'm going to fire you because, you're not doing your job.
you know,
You're not watching over your staff, the actions of. And I would also remind you, institutional control is the gold standard when it comes to NCAA investigations. So it doesn't matter at the coordinator level because they won't be there because Jim Harbaugh's, I think, probably going to resign, which is no contract extension. I think he's going to go back to wherever he came from, be it the NFL or somewhere else. I have no idea. And Michigan's do you understand they're going to drop not a hammer, but the biggest gun safe you can get your hands on, a Brinks truck, a vault. I don't even know the biggest, heaviest thing you can think of, right on top of Michigan.
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
Because Jim Harbaugh is going to quit and leave them holding the bag, dude.
And by the way, you're burying yourself. You're proving our point with your comment, right? Like, again, lack of institutional control. You're fired. Cool. Doesn't matter what the coordinators knew. When Buddy's standing next to you in pictures on the sideline, I'm pretty damn sure you know who he was. Pretty sure you know who dude in the red circle is.
And again, there's a video on my Twitter feed today where Connor Stalions says the words, what most people believe is edge pressure. Jim Harbaugh is literally standing there like this, looking right at Connor Stalions, who's looking at the sign. We've seen the other side of the video. The sign comes in, and he starts yelling edge pressure. Jim puts his headphones back on, puts the mic down, and says, edge pressure, edge pressure. Jim didn't know? The assistants didn't know? The players didn't know? Come on, man. At what point do you give up the ghost of this fight?
It's got to be America's team.
At what point do you give up the ghost of this fight? I don't know. Jobu for $2. It's going to be Weiss that truly kneecaps Michigan. You might be right about that. You might be right about that. Michael Jarrett, how's Corum not under investigation under LLC if all facts which seem to line in its truth? I don't know why you're yelling. Where is that at, especially when it's everywhere? Well, and where's your attorney, Blake? Because Blake Corum, what's being referenced is Blake Corum's name appears on a LLC filing in Wyoming, Montana? Wyoming. And according to the law of Wyoming and every other jurisdiction I'm aware of, frankly, if you forge somebody's name and his name is listed there, Connor Stalions' signature is there, and there is a box that is checked that says, hey, you acknowledge all of these people and all of the information you provided in this affidavit is true. He checked that box and signed it with the name of their LLC and Blake Corum. So my question is, if, as Blake said, his lawyer's on it, bro, if he's on it, and it truly is, and here it is right here, by the way, if it truly is your name right there, Blake Corum organizer, and you say your attorney's on it, how come Connor Stalions has not been brought up on charges of forgery and wire fraud?
Vacuums are my thing.
Because Blake Corum stood in front of an assembled media like a dumbass and talked openly about it the other day.
Last week.
And your name is right here. Blake Corum, organizer. And so you said you had no knowledge of this and you were just so thankful. Just so thankful.
Threw up the prayer sign.
And said thank you to the person who found this and saved me.
A contract sort of surfaced on social media tonight that's linking you with Connor. Is what?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. My first time hearing it was when I went out to practice. And first of all, I have no business with him. I don't have any business with Connor, anything like that. But I'm glad whoever found it, whoever was searching the web was able to find that. I appreciate you. My attorneys are on it. You know.
My attorneys are on it. Where are the charges? It's a federal crime. What Connor Stalions did there. Are your attorneys on it? Oh, maybe they're not on it because you're on it.
Oh,
right. And the HOA, I'm going to guess the HOA is still pissed about all the vacuums on Connor Stalions' porch that they sued him over, which is where this all came out of. So you can't have it both ways, Michigan fan. And if you again are just tuning in, Michigan And this is all about message boards, which is the part that just blows my mind.
It's incredible
that people continue to take what any Wolverine message board says to be truth.
Including Michigan's own lawyers.
Yes. Who? No, I'm not getting back in. Jim Harbaugh's lawyers. I think you guys probably are aware. Jim Harbaugh's lawyers last
So-called
week.
experts.
Michigan MGO blog. Right. This is right off of a blog post. Wow. I mean, that's
really well written.
That's amazing. And oh, hey, look at that. The exact same thing, word for word in Jim Harbaugh's lawyer's response. Word for word and word and word. Wow, Jim's got some really lazy attorneys, apparently.
What the fuck are you, Ranger Rick?
Did you think they wouldn't find out?
Come on, guy. Come on.
Less of us, more of you. And Michigan fan, you're completely welcome to be here. Love you guys.
I love the battle, dude.
But you won't answer the question.
Still.
Why have you not denied it?
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
Why haven't you denied it? That's all I'm asking you. McNutton or Nick McNaughton.
McNutton.
Whatever. Hey, what you do in your personal time is not on Nick Naughton or whatever his name is. Nick, why haven't you denied cheating? You know, like Jamie on Twitter today, we don't have to justify it to you. Because you can't justify the fact that Michigan has never denied this happened.
My bad.
Now, I mean, not a single time if they said, we didn't do this. Never denied it. All Michigan has done is attack the Big Ten. All Michigan has done is attack its fellow Big Ten members. All Michigan has done is said due process, due process, due process. But you can't explain why you haven't denied it and what due process you were robbed of.
Me?
I'm just asking, again, for a friend. I probably should not take this buckshot because if we're being honest,
Pause, bro. Pause.
I feel like I have some pretty good mental clarity.
Here, you take mine. You take mine. Oh, you got it. Let's
Bro,
go,
I lift.
baby.
I live.
Let's go.
Tomorrow, 50% off BuckedUp.com. Make sure you go and register for the sale today at BuckedUp.com. Use the promo code Monty. Load up your shopping carts because tomorrow, one-day event, Black Friday comes early at BuckedUp.com. 50% off of all their supplements. You know that they are world-renowned for their pre-workouts. You know that this product right here is one of the hottest products in the fitness world. It is Buckshot. It is your energy shot. And I love all the people who are like, oh, man, I wish I'd found this earlier. I'm, you know, the 5-hour energy. Everybody who tries Buckshot after being a 5-hour energy user is like, I can't believe how bad 5-hour energy is.
Because it's garbage.
Because this stuff is naturally sourced caffeine, 200 milligrams. So there are no spikes. There are no bombs. And it tastes amazing. Cheers to you, my friends. Go get 6 free Buckshots right now in the description below. And then don't forget tomorrow, 50% off at BuckedUp.com. You must pre-register for their sale, which you can do at BuckedUp.com. It's that simple. You want to buy something and you don't want to wait, make sure you get to BuckedUp.com. Use the promo code Monty to get 20% off at checkout. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Appreciate everybody contributing today. Brandon Butler, a member of the show for 10 months.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, Brandon. Did you say signed, sealed, and delivered? The signed,
See what he did there, dude?
I believe
Signed
it'd be
stealer guy.
Stole it and delivered, signed, stolen.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
Look at that, Aztec Glenn. Brady Hoke is gone. Glenn,
Not a new beginning, sir.
it's a good day for you. Leave the Big Ten. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh can, quote, crawl to San Diego State on broken glass. Psst. There's a newly opened head coaching position at San Diego State as of today. Imagine the merged possibilities. Can you imagine the pro rata you deserve hiring Jim Harbaugh?
dude.
Oh, my
Keep
God.
it real.
Bro.
That would be amazing. J-Rod for $10. When facts are not on your side, argue the process. Totally agree.
Facts, dude.
LV Seminole, a member for 8 months.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, LV Seminole. Good to see you. Ryan Willie for $5. In my opinion, Harbaugh is a bad liar. Michigan only made the threat of leaving the Big Ten was to get the commish to rescind the penalty, which he has not. And he's not going to. And I give Tony Petitti a lot of credit because Michigan and Michigan fan, and I think we all know the Michigan fan base is tremendous. It is massive. There is a ton of Michigan fans, and they're all passionate. They all love their Wolverines. And they have all come down on Tony Petitti, even though Michigan's never denied doing this. Even though Tony Petitti is perfectly within his scope of authority in suspending Jim Harbaugh for 3 games. They've all come down on him. Oh, you're terrible. You're okay. Let's see what a judge says on Friday. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what this judge does. Because if the judge was immediately going to grant the TRO, she would have done that already.
Facts.
But instead scheduled a meeting, and a hearing. I don't understand why the hearing is not until Friday. I am surprised it was not Wednesday. And maybe there's calendar issues. I don't know. Michigan's got another trip on Friday, which makes it highly improbable Jim Harbaugh coaches Saturday in College Park, Maryland.
Some shit happened.
Because I have to think.
Well, you're getting due process. So, you can't be mad.
It's kind of crazy it's Friday and not sooner, but, who knows? Aaron Wilson gifted 1 Monty Show membership. Appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you very much. J-Rod, if you can't defend the evidence, attack the process. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Ralph Wolf replying to Boss Frog.
Oh, Boss is here.
Boss Frog. Jake, Boss Frog's here. Say hello.
Hi, guys. Hey.
Hey. Hi.
Hey, Boss.
Hi. How are you? I don't know where Boss
Hey,
Frog
guys.
There's Boss Frog. I mean, he is definitely racking up billable hours. He is. It's remarkable what it is remarkable to me that Jim Harbaugh's lawyer did this. Like, it is. Am I the only one who's stunned by this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like what the strategy is out of the Michigan camp because, and I know this is Jim Harbaugh's lawyer, maybe not same lawyer as Michigan, but either way, I mean, I whether it's this situation or whether it's the response written by Michigan's legal team, I don't know what your strategy was other than we're going to try and play bully ball. And
that's exactly what this is.
Right? Like, we're just going to try and strong arm Tony Petitti, a new commissioner. We're going to try and instill fear and play the power game. And unfortunately for Michigan, Tony Petitti has nothing to be worried about because the facts are on his side. He's just dealing in what the evidence is, which is precisely what Michigan fan doesn't want to recognize, I feel like, which is Tony Petitti has seen everything the NCAA has seen. So he's not scared of some hearing on Friday. He's not concerned. He's not sitting there shaking in his boots saying, oh my God, Michigan's threatening me and telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. When in reality, what did he do? He dropped the suspension and through that process absolutely made an ass of you guys. Pointed out how strong-armed you were about it.
Yeah. And Tom Mars is a very good attorney. It's not like he's a hack, and he is a very good attorney.
And look, I understand he didn't have a lot of options. I get it. But I don't know. I guess I felt like there would have been a better way to go about this if you were Michigan.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Robert L., the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. See what he did there? See what he did.
Yeah.
Nick McNaughton, because there's no denying it. So you did this. Why are you fighting so hard then to defend Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, help us understand.
And this is the inevitable conversation. If you know that you did this, and the preponderance of the evidence is absolutely it happened, I don't know that there's any way to deny. I would never be able to deny it. If I were the president of Michigan, I would have put Jim Harbaugh on immediate indefinite suspension and had one of his assistants coach the team through the end of the year, and then I would have fired them all.
That's right, T.
Because I'm not giving up a spot to and the other thing here is Michigan's a very good football team. You don't need, in my opinion, to be beholden to Jim Harbaugh, the multi-time admitted cheater now, Because again, you have level 1 and level 2 violations from the COVID investigation. And now nobody's denying what his football staff did, whether he knew or not. He's a multi-time cheater. How are you defending this guy? Michigan deserves better. This is what I've said from day one. Michigan deserves better. It's a fine institution. It is an unbelievable house of education with one of the best football teams in the country this year. So you're defending an admitted liar? You're defending somebody that from the evidence we've seen, you immediately suspended Connor Stalions. That on its face says you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the fact that Central Michigan's not denied he was standing on their sideline. Hey, what are you defending Jim Harbaugh for?
I can understand it if the cheating led to natties. Hey, you're winning natties? Okay. Die on the hill for dude. He's your guy. Hey, we're Georgia. We're multi-time national championship holders, right? We got the belt. We got the trophy. We're the guy. Okay, cool, man.
So what are you hanging on to?
Like, defend it to the death. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who not only doesn't sniff the national championship game, he struggles to win bowl games. You guys understand that, right?
And I think ZCM makes a great point. And it wasn't Ohio State that turned him in. We talked, it reported exclusively, and now everybody around the country's run with it. We told you first on this show, an internal investigation begun by Michigan itself is what uncovered this evidence. They hired an outside firm with a fiduciary responsibility. They are tied to their ethics.
Because Michigan can't investigate themselves, right?
They hired an outside firm who, when investigating, because all this goes back to ultimately Matt Weiss and the FBI. We were told that when the FBI noticed Michigan, hey, we're coming in on this case, partnering with the University of Michigan Police Department to investigate whatever it is that happened with Matt Weiss. Michigan was like, okay, we're going to do an internal investigation. They hired an outside firm who has an ethical and moral responsibility to report their findings. And when they found all of the evidence, and apparently it was a treasure trove of evidence they found on Michigan football computers about this sign stealing operation, they had no choice but to report it to the NCAA. But no, Michigan fan and the Wolverine podcasts and the message boards who haven't been right about anything here went right to Ryan Day's brother. He owns a
dangerous misinformation.
Yeah, he owns an investigation firm. This is amazing. They hacked into Michigan computers. No, they didn't. Like, it's remarkable to me. Where was Connor's due justice? He was suspended within 48 hours of the story blowing up.
Dude, there's no question what Connor Stalions is. He's a fall guy. Why? That's a great point. Why did they fire him? Essentially, I know he resigned Michigan. Why'd you fire him? Oh, that's right. Because you went ahead and said, hey, and this is what I thought was so funny about Michigan's response to the notice. Michigan goes in their response, dude, we're not aware of any ongoing violations. We let him go. We're not violating anything on an ongoing basis, as if that's what this conversation's about. You really thought that by firing sign stealer guy, that was going to be good enough and all your trouble was just going to disappear? Dude, the Big Ten and the NCAA have an obligation to make sure the integrity of the game is at the absolute highest level. Do you understand? And this is something that nobody, including ESPN or anybody else, is talking about. Do you understand that if the integrity of the game can't be trusted in any sport, you're talking about TV partner issues, betting partner issues, like anybody who's a part of the game who's not playing the game has issues with you because they can't trust the result. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Mike Smith, did Connor Stalions have anything to do with the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer? Okay, the Todd father, buck up, Nick. Only thing that you can do at this point, like, seriously. Boss Frog, by the way, Tom Mars, who's representing Jim Harbaugh, is also representing Mel Tucker. Just interesting info. He's a phenomenal attorney. Which, again, is why I say, was this the only angle this big boy attorney could come up with? What's a Michigan message board? Like, oh,